Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a fabulous Sunday. Let me just turn off my phone so it doesn't keep beeping here, because that is one thing that is really annoying, right? Um, and I don't really, to tell you the truth, we've talked about that before. I don't really think that one should be so terribly accessible. But nevertheless, here I want to, and by the way, just to intervene this before I introduce Amnan, our producer, who said nevertheless very, very often? Anybody? Anybody? No? Nevertheless is really uh, the I just have it. I have it on the top of my tongue, and it's now Rockefeller, his wife. What was her name?
Oh,
The one who was so very prolific in. She would say that most often her speeches. It just came to mind because my husband and I, we always say that too. But nevertheless, anyway,
I don't.
Amnon, our
Hello.
producer, who is the man of the hour here, who makes it all happening.
No, you are
Amnon,
you are the woman of the hour. I'm just behind the scenes. Hi.
yeah, well, without you, I would be nothing.
Well, no, that's not true either.
Well, listen, little humor never hurt anybody, especially after this week, huh?
I
What a
am
week.
telling you, this is
Woo!
so refreshing to see you after all the this and you're in a good mood. I wish the rest half of the country was like that.
Yeah,
Instead,
well,
instead,
you know
this is
what? My mom always said, if you can't fight them, join them.
absolutely.
And if somebody hands you a lemon, make lemonade.
Yep.
I mean, there is we can't do anything else. I mean, I'm not going to stress myself out over this and get sick over this. No
I
way.
know. I know. It's ridiculous. It's
My health
absolutely.
is much more important than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I hope all of our listeners who are listening, please do not upset yourself over it too much. I mean, there's nothing, it's a done deal. It's sort of like milk that you spilled. You can't get it back into the
No,
carton
you
or into
can't.
the bottle. That's it. Out over. So let's move forward and see what else is to be gleaned. Let's see what can we do to make this not a total disaster. And that is really there again, all of us. We have to be still vigilant. We have to, obviously, the ones who are democratic and the ones who want to be an independent and the one who wants to be a liberal and the one who wants to be a republican, you have to be engaged in politics with your representatives. That means you don't have to be in their ear every day. However, it is a good thing to once in a while tweet your representative and say, hey, listen, are you still on the job? Are you still doing what your mandate was? Are we getting whatchamacallit? Are we doing things? Tweet, Facebook, send them a message, you're alive and you are vigilant. And that is what active democracy is like.
Mm-hmm.
Active democracy is make your voice heard. And obviously, the voice was heard this time. Now, that the popular vote went to Hillary, well, we expected that. But we didn't expect this. I mean, I woke up, I didn't even listen or didn't watch the results on television. every other election, I was up at night and watching, and oh my God, they voted this way. That this
Mm-hmm.
time I just said, I'm going to put on a German movie that always makes me feel good, like the 50s, 60s, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I listened to that, fell asleep. Next morning, I woke up, I put on the news, and I heard Donald Trump president. I almost dropped my teeth. I mean, I was like, what? This
Yeah.
can't be happening. So then I listened, and I woke up my husband and I said, honey, listen, listen, Donald Trump is president. His eyes flew open as wide as a plate. And he said, no. I said, yep. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. We had dinner guests last night, stoned Republicans, voted for Donald, did has always been a little bit of a contention. She is my best girlfriend. Um, I never agreed with her. But it's her choice. It's their choice. You cannot. You can have your own opinion, but you cannot make other people believe what you believe.
No.
You can't.
And
And
you
you
see,
can't.
you stayed friends with her.
Oh yeah,
I was
of course.
talking I was talking to our friend Donna's daughter. She's like 25, 26, and she was saying, and she's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And she's saying that her best friends from college that she was talking with every day, when she was talking to them, and they were saying that they were unhappy and all that, and they found out that she's a Trump supporter, three of them she did not hear back from. They wouldn't
Oh,
even. This is so stupid.
yeah. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's just plain
Yeah,
wrong.
absolutely.
If your friendship does not, well, you know what? If that is the case, then they weren't friends in the
I
first
know that's
place.
what I told her, but I also told her give them some time. They'll get over it, and probably things will go back to normal.
They'll,
Just understand that this is something that is you need to look at it and analyze why this happened between you, because maybe they're not such good friends.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you know what? They will see the error of their ways.
Hopefully. I mean, it's the.
Everybody will see the error of their ways
I mean,
because no matter which way you
yeah,
voted,
yeah,
Democratic or Republican, there will be error.
right,
It has never been different. It has been, if you go through history, it has been always the same. None of the parties are walking on water.
right,
Nobody really cares about you, me, or the little man.
right.
They only care of where does the next donation come from that I can run my next campaign.
Yep.
And that's it. Either party is like that. There hasn't been a messiah that has rescued us.
No.
And one of the things that I found was really, really interesting and refreshing. One of my girlfriends, she is in not in local politics, but she does things for politicians and so on. She's here in the local administration, works with them and so on. And she said, you know what? At Veterans Day, they have the veterans celebration, with a wreath laying and so
Right.
on. We have a small memorial like most small cities have. And I'm going to go down there. Why don't you come and join me? Because I was looking really for a veteran that I could give my little house to live in exchange for some work on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that might be a good idea. I'll introduce you to a few people. And, so I was standing there and it was so windy and it was so cold, but the sun was shining. So it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing there and I was looking at all these old veterans, and they were all from World War II and the Korean War. nobody from the new wars, you know. I mean, we've been in war ever since Second World War. We never stopped.
Yeah.
First World War, really. We never stopped being in a war. And none of the younger soldiers or veterans were there, which I found interesting. And then the veterans director of Veterans Affairs, a real nice guy, um, gave a speech, and it was a very good speech. And one part of the speech said, I know I might not find a lot of agreement with that, but I wish the draft would be instituted again. And everybody there, even the younger people, the spectators, there were a lot of spectators, younger people, uh, they applauded. We all applauded. I mean, it really, uh, guys, tell me if I'm wrong. Wouldn't that be the greatest solution for
It,
our country?
absolutely.
Having 18 to 35. Here's the way I would do this. And this is just my opinion, okay? I would do this so 18 to 35. If you've never served in the military, you have to do a two stint. Now, granted, many people in that age group are married with small children or have very good jobs. So I would not expect them to leave all of that and get a PFC salary for 2 years.
Right.
But here's what the alternative would be. For those people, they can serve in the National Guard,
Mm-hmm.
but they can do on weekends, and they can do community service
Right.
on weekends for 2 years. If you do that, you will get for 4 years, like the old GI Bill, you get for 4 years a college of your choice, or where you can get into, proportionally paid, not totally paid, but proportionally paid of what the college is and so on. But don't you think that that would be a fabulous solution to our unemployment, to our people would learn skills, they would learn respect, they would learn to be loving to their country, understand what the country is made of. And
Absolutely.
that would really be the home of the brave again.
Absolutely.
And and that would be, I hope that, and I'm going to tweet this to our congressman, and I hope that our listeners out there grab that torch and hand it off. Send it to your congressman. Tell them this is what we want, because that would be the best solution. We would, in one swoop, we would stop all of this unemployment, low wages, all of that. People would learn skills. People don't have any skills anymore. The big skill in this country is the computer. Well, that's great. It is the age of the technology. But you know what? We still need to have things repaired, and we still need chairs to sit on, and we
Mm-hmm.
still need shoes that need to be repaired. Just being a throwaway society is not going to make us any better, as we have seen within the last 20 years.
Right.
So why don't we do that? Why don't we learn skills too? It's great to be on the computer. I'm on the computer too. And it's a wonderful technology. But if it takes over our life completely, then there is something wrong. And we also are not interacting with each other. I am welcoming today all of the people that have seen this show before. Welcome back. And all of the new people that have never watched it. And never fear, there will be also health questions answered, and I will talk about natural health. But I also have a little bit always of how we can live a little better life. Now, I'm not tell the people how they can get in touch with me and tell me I'm totally wrong.
All right. So first of all, you should log into the chat on the page where you're watching it now on nissancommunications.com/live. If you want to ask questions and interact with Gisela, then 919-518-9773 or on Skype, Computers 2K Voice.
Terrific. So we hope to get a few questions. Again, last week we had some real active people. We really cherished that. We really loved that, and I hope
I
this
think today is kind of slow. I think people are still recuperating. Even
days
my show this morning was slow.
really, yeah, people are really dazed. I can tell you this that all of my girlfriends called me, every one of them, and all the ones that did not vote for Trump. And they were like, "Oh, Gisela, how do you feel?" They were really concerned of that I would be really bent out of shape. Well, you know what? I was. I was so dazed. It felt like the feet were knocked out from under me. But I'm a homeopathist. I know how to help myself. First thing I did is I took a dose of Ignatia. That's for sadness and grief. That sort of calms you down a little, slows down the violent reaction you have to grief or sadness or loss. I felt like I lost something, you know, so that helped a little bit. And then by noon, I had formulated a plan of action. First of all, I'm not ever going to listen to the news again. Second, I am not going to discuss really politics other than I have now made my point and that's it. I'm not discussing it. I hope that you all have a point of whatever it is. If you agree with me, great. If you don't agree with me, that's okay too. I'm not hurt. You have to take a stand because you have to protect your inner core, and your inner core is your sanity, your determination to be happy and to be calm. Stress will make us ill. We know that. We know that. So adding more stress by by being by being very angry about something like this that you cannot do anything about, as we have said,
Right.
has no point. Okay? So by evening, I was calm, I was serene. I I watch Andy Griffin in the evening instead of the news. And you know what? It works. It works. I am today, a week later, I can talk about it without being bent out of shape. Yesterday I discussed it with my son. My son was very much so a Trump supporter. And I thought, well, you know what? It's his choice. He's a grown man. It's his choice and everybody's choice. It's your choice to do that. And I hope all of the people that were very hurt by this election, I've never seen an election that was so personal as this one. Um, that, you know, take a grip on yourself and say they have a right to their opinion, you have a right to your opinion, and let's just hope and pray. If you go to church, pray that this man is guided by good motivation, and that's it. All right. um, we won't talk about it anymore because it's already too long. uh, but if you did did find that it was so stressful that it made you ill, here are a few pointers to make you well again. One of the things that in this time of the year, many people battle with sore throat. I have had several people call me I have a sore throat. I can't even talk. It's really bad. It seems like it's really, especially here in the Northeast, it's really going around. Well, here's what you can do. If the sore throat is really burning and stinging, you take a dose of Apis 30C. If the sore throat is more of a, you can't swallow, it hurts when you swallow. It's almost like it's a little bit paralyzed. The glands are a little bit swollen. You have an elevated temperature. Take a dose of Belladonna 30C. You'll see in no time, if it didn't work the first time, take a second dose, and you will be a lot better. The reason why you got that is because the stress caused your immune system to drop, and you went out to shop, or you went out about your job, and somebody else had a bacteria sneezed or whatever, and you breathed that in, and that's how you got the sore throat, because your immune system dropped because of the stress. Now, one of the things that was this election that really um, was the winner, the absolute winner, and that was the marijuana. Uh, uh, you know, 7 states voted to have either recreational marijuana, that you can have 1 or 2 plants. Uh, Over 20 states, 23 or 24 states now, have medical marijuana. They have signed off on it. And all the other states have said they would not be opposed. It's the will of the people that want to have CBD oil and marijuana and cannabis available to help themselves, not to get high. I mean, hey, I'm a girl of the 60s, when I was living in San Francisco in the 60s and went to school at San Francisco State, what? Yeah, we smoked a joint, and I did inhale. And it wasn't a huge thing, but we were young, we loved it, and so on. Then came a long time when it was so very, very criminalized, and naturally nobody did anything. But all the years that I have been a homeopathist, I have been reading voraciously everything that cannabis can be of medical value for us. And now, within the last few months, I have seen the value of cannabis oil in many, many ways, even for animals, even for dogs and cats. It is amazing and astounding what, especially pain relief, anxiety relief, uh, even grief. I have seen people who really grieved for, let's say, for a loved one, or for an animal sometimes. Um, they have been helped with having either ingesting marijuana, or smoking it, or having just the CBD oil. I'm a proponent of the CBD oil. I am not so much anymore a proponent of smoking the stuff and getting high and so on. But I guess that's probably my age, that I kind of like to be, out there. I like my brain to function real well. So I'm not so much, I don't really like to stand beside myself. Okay. I like to be right present. And CBD oil lets you be present without, but it has all of the medical, or I don't want to say medical, the health benefits. Okay. And those of you who have watched me before, you remember that my pinched nerve. I mean, if I wouldn't have had CBD oil, I would still not be okay. But I'm totally okay. And my husband, who was very, very ill a week ago, is getting better. Thank you very much. And he is now eating and functioning, and hopefully I'll have him a few more years. Okay. Again, um, because of the remedies. The remedies are now, my CBD oil is made from hemp, so there's no THC in that, so you don't get high. But um, the ingredients here for the feel good remedy are so good that they work almost immediately. So you spray it in your mouth if you have pains. Let's say many people have joint pain, hip, shoulder, knee, neck pain. Uh, you take a couple of sprays in the morning, about an hour or two after you had coffee. Don't have coffee with it. And you have rutagraph in here. You have arnica in here. You have gotu-kola. Gotu-kola is an herb that will rebuild your tissue. It helps to rebuild tissue. It's a wondrous herb. Gotu-kola is an South American herb that, or cat's claw, works against inflammation, almost anything really. I put that in here. There's turmeric in here. Turmeric, as you know, works against inflammation. And here's just a little tip on the side for you. If you have, let's say, you have a wound or a pimple or a boil, that just won't heal. It keeps souping and you keep messing with it, and it keeps, don't take antibiotics because it usually doesn't work. Pack it with turmeric. Take a small amount of Vaseline, incorporate into that Vaseline as much turmeric powder as you can. You know, turmeric powder is that yellowish powder, Indian spice that adds a lot of flavor to many dishes. But it is an anti-inflammatory herb par excellence, and it's antibacterial. So what you do is you just incorporate as much as you can into that little bit of Vaseline, smear that on top of the wound, boil, or pimple that you have, leave it overnight. By the next morning, it is either gone or greatly reduced. If it's just greatly reduced, repeat the same thing, do it overnight. That way, you can put a little band-aid over it or whatever, so you don't have it in the pillowcases or in the bed, and leave it overnight. You will see it will be gone in no time. All your acne people, young people who are listening, if you have acne, put turmeric powder on it, and you will see your acne will be greatly reduced. Okay, so that's what is in here too: turmeric powder, um, ginseng, ginseng, and the ginseng that is in here comes from a ginseng root that I have been marinating. It's a fresh ginseng root, marinating now for 10 years. And if I would sell that jar, I would get a ton of money, but I much rather put it into my remedies, and there's just a small amount of that in here. What also is in here is, let me just see, turmeric, ginseng, rutagraph, arnica. Arnica. Arnica helps you to helps blood flow, really. So let's say you're a little sluggish because you know, many people are sluggish because they have pain, but not really pain, you know? They're just sort of achy all over. Uh, Today it's the shoulder, tomorrow it's the knee, the next day it's in the lumbar region, then they have a slight headache, then they have a little bit of a sore throat, then they have a little, it's sort of like all over the place, but no real sickness. It's just sort of like, I don't feel well, right? Well, arnica will help with all of that because arnica is not just for bruises and for pain. When you got yourself bruised up, it makes blood flow better. And I put that in here for that reason. And you take a couple of sprays into your mouth. You can use it as often as you like, and you'll see it works like a charm. It really does. It works almost immediately. Almost immediately. If it doesn't, if you don't feel better right away, take in a half an hour, take another spray, and you'll feel better. Or like with all of the remedies that I make, you have to shake it real well, and that is called succussing the remedies. Um, and the succussion activates the remedy. Now, of course, there's CBD oil made from hemp in here, and CBD oil is a great pain reliever. Real pain. If you have real pain, CBD oil will help you um, feel less pain. Do we have any questions towards that?
Um, there's one question. It says marinating in what? I wasn't. I was doing
Oh, and
something.
alcohol. In
Alcohol.
alcohol.
Okay.
And I use vodka. And for my ginseng, most of the time, like when I make CBD oil, I use Everclear, which is the grain alcohol 90% because all of that gets cooked off. And so I do that also when I make herbal tinctures, when I cook herbal tinctures. Some of the herbal tinctures I make like a sludgy, oily residue of that. Then I dilute that with oil. And, you know, that works. But for ginseng, I use 40 proof, a good, a good vodka. You know, I mean, don't use absolute, but there are several good vodkas out there that are made real well and are smooth. You know, they have a nice smooth texture to it. And use that. Get a fresh root. Now is the time when you can get Wisconsin ginseng, and I'm going to be on the net and trying to find some new roots and to set that up so when the other one is gone, that I have a continuation. And because they are dug up in the fall, um, you know, and then they are sold on the internet. Fresh Wisconsin ginseng. Very, very good ginseng. And if you cannot find that, then you can use dried ginseng. Um, they are costly. If you use a small, just a very small piece, sometimes can cost you 10, 12, $20. So try to get the fresh ones. Um, and like I said, the Wisconsin and from the Smoky Mountains, they also have wild ginseng there, and there are people that go. They know what they dig up, and then they do sell it online. So try to find it there. Then you wash the root and you put it into a glass container, cover it with alcohol, and forget about it for a couple of months. Okay? And it works wonderful. In fact, one of my friends always, because the jar is right there on my table, um, when they come, they always say, "Ah, there is Gisla's secret. She takes that every day. That's why she is like an Energizer bunny," and it does put a lot of energy into you. So you use it sparingly. A teaspoon a day is more than enough, and you'll have energy all day, and your immune system is high. And that's what you have in the remedy also. Okay. And it's really one of a kind. There's no remedy on the internet that is made like this or has these ingredients. I can guarantee you. The bottle is $38, lasts you for about a month and a half. Okay. So it is really quite, and if you buy more, then the price drops a little bit. So anybody else?
Nope.
Nobody else. All right. Well, guys, let me see. What else do we have
There is
here? I had,
there is a comment, and Kathy say, "I'm growing a plant from the root. Can I use roots from that?"
you use ginseng from you're growing a plant from ginseng or ginger?
Ginger.
Ginger is different from ginseng. Ginger is a flavoring, also very good. Here's what you can do. You take only half the root, okay, and cut off half the root and leave the other in the ground so that it regrows itself. Ginger is a very good remedy for this time of the year. Here's what you do with it. And you can buy it in the grocery store. You don't have to grow it yourself. You don't have to destroy your plant. It's much cheaper. It's very cheap to buy in the grocery store now. You just scrape it, okay, the skin off, scrape it, don't peel it, because you peel all the goodness off if you peel it. You scrape it, and then what you do is you cut it very thin slices, as thin as you can. Put it in a jar, or in a mortar and pestle is best, but I usually use a small jar like this. Then I have a mortar. I cover the ginger with sugar, either brown sugar, depending on what I have. Sometimes I have some brown sugar that is really good. I use that. If you don't have that, just use honey or white sugar. That's fine too. Honey is all right too. And you macerate that. Make it into a pulp, okay? Again, here you use alcohol and you use a brandy. You can buy a cheap brandy. You don't have to use an expensive brandy. You can buy a very cheap brandy, but vodka is not as good for that. Brandy is better, because brandy is a distilled product in a different way. So it's a better. It also is not as high in alcohol. So once you've macerated your ginger really well in the glass with some sweet, honey, brown sugar, white sugar, whatever there is, then you pour the brandy over it. Cover it well. Put a cover on it, and do not put screw top on it so that it is almost airtight, okay? But doesn't have to be totally airtight, but just don't cover it just with a cloth like kombucha or something. Don't do that because the alcohol of the brandy will just evaporate and will not complete the maceration process. So you leave that, put it into a cupboard for a couple weeks. I usually make a jar like that by the end of summer because I know in the winter time, come winter, January, February, we're going to need it because it is an excellent, excellent, excellent cough syrup. The best cough syrup that you can make is made with this. So once you have it, you can decant it into a bottle, or you just leave it. I just leave it all in there. So when winter comes, and my husband always gets this winter cough where he coughs half the night, and that's no fun for either of us. So what I do is I get up, get a tablespoon, feed him a tablespoon of that, and he stops coughing for the rest of the night. Next day, if still has cough, he gets in the evening, he gets another one. You do it as long as you have the cough. Most of the time, it only needs about 3 doses. You like to have the whole thing, the jar, the ginger and the sugar and so on. You like to have it almost syrupy, not quite. It will thin out a little bit. The alcohol will thin it out a little, but it should be really uh, quite sweet, and there should be a little bit of the alcohol in there that really stops the cough. And let me tell you, it works perfectly. Now, if you have a cold also at the same time, let's say you have a stuffy nose, cough, cold, the regular cold. What you do then is you, in a different jar, you put a little turmeric in there, put some of that tincture in there, the ginger, the sugar, the alcohol, stir all of that real well, and now take it. Start with a teaspoon, then you go up to a tablespoon. My husband needs a tablespoonful. He is 6'2", and he is a big guy, so he needs a little more. When I take a teaspoon, for me is often enough. You have a little laryngitis, perfect for that. Runny nose, perfect for that. Then what you can do, remember last week I gave you can use kombucha to help your dog from having fleas and ticks and so on. You can take a little bit of that, take a tablespoon, put it into a 4-ounce bottle, spray bottle. Put a little bit of kombucha in there if you have it. If you don't have it, use a little apple cider vinegar. Then if you want it to smell really nice, you put a little bit of lavender or geranium oil, and only a couple of drops, okay? Like, for instance, 6 drops to a 4-ounce bottle. Shake the whole thing real well, spray your pet with, and your pet will feel good, and there will be no fleas on it or ticks. Works like a charm. If your pet has been bitten already by ticks, here's what you do. You buy some Ledum Palostrad. Give your dog a dose of Ledum every day. It will help to your dog not to be susceptible to Lyme disease. Will it ward off Lyme disease completely? I don't know. None of my pets now, since I've been doing that, have been reinfected. So I would say, yes, it works. But then again, just my 3 pets doesn't mean that it's going to work for all pets. But it is a good alternative for you, before you, and have your pet and yourself, if you live in a tick infested area, checked once a year or twice a year, have a Lyme disease test. Test, not the shot, because the shots don't work, but the test. Then, once you understand, does the pet or you have Lyme disease, then you can treat it accordingly. If you don't know if you don't have it, well, then you have to find out. All right. Yeah. Yeah. What else do we have here?
Um,
Uh,
there's a couple. There's a couple more. There. First of all, is can you grow your own ginseng?
very difficult.
Okay, good
Very,
enough.
very
Good
difficult.
enough. Then there's a comment that she goes, "You're better than Google for information."
Ah, yes, that's why you have to tell all your friends to listen to this show.
Yep.
I will give you the real deal all the time. I don't pussyfoot around. And if somebody comes and says, Gisra, you're full of it, well, that may be so, but I'm full of good information because I do my homework. That's my business. I'm a homeopathist. I am in for natural health. And I can tell you guys, my husband is 87. He went through this huge bout of, I thought I had lost him. I really did. And now, yesterday, he was in the garden raking leaves. Now, if that is not a testimonial to
Absolutely.
homeopathy and what I can do and that I do my homework, I don't know what is.
Yep.
And I would like to tell you about other clients, but I can't.
Future show.
Okay. But
Future shows.
pardon me?
Future shows.
Yeah. Well, it's not so. Yes, you can. You need to have always the right information. Then you can work towards what there is. Then you can solve it. If you don't have the information, you can't. Anybody else?
Another question is, let me get back in there. What ratio of ginger to brandy as far as the previous?
Uh, let's say, I always go with the 4 ounces, okay? You can double it, more ginger, more brandy. But 4 ounces, I would put 2 ounces of alcohol in there and the rest. But use a lot of ginger. Like if you have a big root like this, use the entire root. But like I said, don't peel it. Many people peel it. Don't peel it. And when you go to the grocery store to buy it, buy the freshest one that you can. The one that is really nice and fresh looking. Don't buy anything that's a little bit dried out because all the goodness is gone. Okay? So buy that. And how to preserve it, I buy a lot. I buy like a pound or two because I use a lot of ginger. I use it to cook with and so on. But then I put it into a plastic bag, but I put a paper towel in there so that the moisture doesn't get it, but there's enough moisture to keep the root alive. That's how you preserve it in the refrigerator. Don't leave it outside. It'll dry out.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
Great. Wow. Thank you so much for all the good questions. That was really great. I love it. I love it. So listen, tell all your friends. Tell them this is the place to come to get the truth, the real information. And I wish you all a fabulous week, wonderfully peaceful week, without stress, lots of love. And my most favorite holiday of the year is coming, although I have several. Halloween is one, and, Thanksgiving is definitely one. And at first, because of my husband, he was feeling so poorly, and I naturally, he's my soulmate, so I felt poorly for him. And I said to my girlfriend, well, why don't we make reservations? Why don't we not cook? Well, I resynced that last night because he's feeling much better. I'm feeling much better. So I'm off to cook. So next Sunday, we're going to talk about what we can cook and what is good for us. And naturally, also, what you can do if you're overindulged in things. So have a great week. Enjoy the week. Stay peaceful and calm. And my best wishes are for you. Bye for now. Until next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.